Hey, what's up, everybody? Tonight on the show, Saraya, formerly known as Paige, makes her AEW debut. We're watching AEW Rampage Grand Slam. And what's with all that White Rabbit stuff? And as we start the show, glad to report that the Yankees have won. They just beat the Red Sox 5-4 in the Bronx. The Yankees win. Hi, John.
You must be happy tonight.
Yeah, they just won. Great. They came back. It was 4-4 in the 8th. They come back, score a run. Trevino lines one in the center to score a run, drive one in, and Yankees win 5-4. They hang on in the 9th. Red Sox had 2 runners on with 1 out, and the Yankees get the 2 outs that they need to go back home with a win. Yes! Another win for the Yankees. Now they get to go and rest and sleep and party and do whatever they do. On to the next one where they must win again. Let's go. It's exciting.
It's only a week. It's only a week left in the season, if not mistaken.
Yeah, about that, right? September 23rd right now. October baseball coming up, John. Aaron Judge has, I think, 12 or 13 games left to hit 1 or 2 more home runs, or who knows how many more. He's at 60. He's tied the Babe Ruth record. He's going to try and tie and beat Roger Maris. And in all likelihood, he will do it at some point. It's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited about Yankees baseball right now. AEW is going on, too. Can I get the, just a note for the, can I get the AEW back on the screen here so I could see the AEW? I've got it over here, but I want to get it back. Thank you. AEW, there we go. We got such a good team. You see that, John? John sees it now too,
for
right?
Me,
you are always seeing it?
I was always seeing it. Yeah, there was no problem.
Okay. We got Sting and Darby Allin versus Brody King and Buddy Murphy. Sting looks like he's bleeding. Sting went through a table. Sting went off the top rope through a table. What is going on?
It's a wild match. I think Brody King went off the stage with Darby. I think they're out.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild match. Sting is really going for it. It's crazy how much Sting is still doing at this stage in his life. Pretty incredible.
Got the baseball bat.
Thanks.
Uh-oh. Are we getting the members renewing their membership? Thank you to everybody. Lior, Ray Cruz.
Lights went out.
All the members. Oh, the lights are out. Who's coming out now? Is somebody coming out during this match? Great Muta? Great Muta? Is he coming to help Sting? What? How old is Great Muta?
I want to say he's in his 60s too, no?
Right? Great
You can't really tell
Muta.
'cause he's wearing a huge mask.
He's 59.
Okay, well, he's close.
He's got a big mask on. They're all paused in the ring because they look afraid that the Great Muta has arrived. And there he is. He's got another mask. He takes off one mask to reveal a second mask.
That's typical, like, masked wrestler fashion.
I gotta be honest, I'm vaguely familiar with the Great Muta. Like, I know the name, but that's kind of where it stops. You know what I mean? How much do you know about the Great Muta?
Well, he was in WCW. He was in the NWO Japan. And he was also in
Okay.
Impact for a little bit as well.
All right. Didn't tell me much about his illustrious Japanese career, which I'm sure a lot of people are very familiar with. Some people right now are really mad that we don't know what the hell happened there.
Well, him and Sting have a history. Him and Sting have a history from WCW. There's no question about that.
Right. And I'm
There's a face-off
only
here.
loosely familiar with that because I'm not the biggest Sting fan.
There's a lot of staring going on right now. Oh, Dragon Screw.
So Great Muta is with Sting, helping Sting. He just did the, oh my God.
Oh! That looked like deadly.
Oh my
God.
God.
Man, Julia Hart.
So Julia Hart was on the apron, and Buddy Murphy took the mist from the Great Muta in the face, and then Buddy Murphy backed up. Julia Hart flew off the apron and overshot the table and just kind of nicked the table and landed back first on the concrete. Looked like an injury or something. Definitely pain. A lot of pain.
I'd worry
Oh my
about the
God.
back of her head.
Yeah, that was bad. Oh,
I mean,
Sting and
that's
Darby
really-
won. Darby's like unconscious in the corner.
Thanks to Muta. Muta
Yeah.
pretty much gave him the win right there.
Muta stole the victory from them, cheating to win. Great Muta. Darby's just got blood on the top of his head. He's by the stage. He's not celebrating with Sting. What happened to Darby? Darby died.
Well,
they won
fell
the
off
match, but
stage
Darby is
together.
now dead.
Darby fell off the stage with Brody King.
Is he okay?
Through
Now
a table.
Sting and Muta are shaking hands.
It's a very awkward handshake, but okay.
Yeah. Now they're hugging. Okay.
I guess it's the end of the rivalry, I guess.
People like the Great Muta and Sting. I've definitely heard good things about it, but it just wasn't my era, and I don't know. I never looked into it because I was never that interested. Like, it's kind of like a blind spot for me in wrestling. Like, you're not going to see me be like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. I'm not really aware. But, early 90s WCW, I wasn't watching it. I didn't have WCW TV. I was watching Hulk Hogan. Bret Hart, Ultimate Warrior. You know.
Well, when they did that Starrcade, when it was like WCW versus Japan, like Muta was like the main guy.
When was that?
So I think it was 95.
Like, for me, I only really started watching WCW when NWO started.
Okay, so the year after.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. All that pre-NWO stuff and WCW, we didn't get that on our TV here. I don't know what you had, some kind of weird satellite package, but WCW wasn't on TV in Montreal.
You had it, but yeah, I think that was it. You didn't have all the antenna channels, probably. I was closer to the border, so I probably got more channels.
Yeah. I didn't have WCW, so I never got to see any of that stuff. So I'm not aware who Great Muta really is. I'm a WWF guy, you know? When I was a kid, WWF all day, every day. I watched some WWF tonight. It was all right.
The beginning was great. The rest sucked.
Yeah, the Tribal Chief is good. Who's
Great,
a babyface
opening
there? Like
to me, he's being a heel, but he's also playing with it too, though. Where it's like there's ups and downs, and there's a great up at the end. I thought.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good segment there with the Bloodline tonight. Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, and of course the honorary Us, Sami Zayn. I liked Heyman talking about Drew McIntyre, saying, the UK isn't home to him, because really anywhere Roman Reigns goes, it's the island of relevancy, and it's his home, and everybody else is just a visitor. And Heyman says that Solo Sikoa, what?
Sounds right, yeah, of course. Like, I felt like he got a great reaction no matter. Remember when he was in Montreal? Like, it was insane, the reaction.
Roman's a huge babyface. Kind of. Heyman says Solo Sikoa was sent by the elders of the Samoan dynasty to join them. Who is that? Like the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika?
So that was my guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm like, who are we talking about here? Maybe Rikishi too has a say. Roman wants Solo to acknowledge him. Solo does acknowledge him. Says he acknowledges the tribal chief. They hug. And then the whole bloodline goes to leave. The music plays. They start leaving. And I was kind of satisfied with that. I was like, oh, that was pretty funny. If that's all they do, it's like, acknowledge me. He told Salt Lake City to acknowledge him. He told Solo to acknowledge him. Solo does. Hugs him. They leave. I'm like, yeah, that seemed about right. But then Sami Zayn had to interrupt, right? He stops the music and he wants to acknowledge Roman. And then Roman's like, why are you talking right now? And it looks like Roman's about to turn on Sami and send the Usos and Solo to beat him up, right? It seemed like, maybe Sami has crossed the tribal chief. He said something about Logan Paul and disrespecting the wise man last week. Like Sami, I guess, told Heyman not to talk about Logan Paul. He was the one to talk to Logan Paul because he knew Logan Paul because they had a previous relationship, Sami and Logan, right? That's how Logan kind of got into the WWE through Sami and their match and all that stuff. So Roman, I guess, was upset about that, and he says, take off your shirt. You shouldn't have the Bloodline shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, your buddy.
Right?
Your friend's coming up.
Who?
Well, your friend, your hero's coming up here. Action Bronson.
Oh, okay. I thought you talked about Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker. Those are, I'm more familiar with those guys than Action Bronson. I mean, I know Action Bronson. I know who he is, but Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange. I mean, I've had, I think they know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know who I am. Action Bronson doesn't know who I am. So, I don't know. Oh, here comes Action Bronson, though. Is he going to do performance? Oh, he's doing a rap? I kind of want to see this, John. Oh, this is going to be
funny.
good.
Like, I saw someone on Twitter say that Bray Wyatt's not on SmackDown tonight. No, he's on Rampage, and there's a picture of Action Bronson. I was like, oh, it's kind of rough.
Bray Wyatt wishes. Wyatt wishes he was that cool. So Roman goes to Sami, take off the Bloodline shirt, and Jey Uso rips it off of him.
Now. Or he's just singing?
No, he's doing the song, I think.
Okay.
Oh, he's censoring himself, too, because there's a lot of swear words in this song. I was wondering how he was going to handle this.
TNT.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, the wrestlers can swear, but Action Bronson can't when he's doing his song. He's got to censor himself.
It's late enough, too. You would think after 10 o'clock, a little bit more lenient, but oh well.
Action Bronson. This is going to be good, John. You're going to be surprised by how good this guy is. This is a strong guy, Action Bronson. Big, strong guy.
Of all the matches, this is the match I'm actually more interested in because I don't know what to expect here. What's he going to do?
So anyways, Roman Reigns tells Jey Uso to rip off the shirt, right? Sami looks sad. Well, he doesn't tell him to rip off the shirt, but he tells Sami to take off the shirt. Jey Uso takes it upon himself to rip off Sami's shirt. Sami looks really sad. He looks like he's about to cry because the bloodline's going to turn on him, and he loves these guys so much. But then Roman says, no. Take off that shirt because we have a new shirt for you.
It was really well done the way he said that.
Right? Yeah, it was really good.
The turn for Roman was beautiful.
Yeah. It seemed like, Roman's a bad guy. He's going to beat up Sami, and everybody's sad about it. And then he says, no, here's a new shirt. And it says Honorary Oos, and it's a Sami Zayn Honorary Oos shirt, and he gives it to him, and Sami's really happy. And the crowd chants Sami's name, and Sami's ecstatic, and it's really cool. Right? It was a good moment. Again, John, I just want to remind you that like months ago when Sami Zayn just started like sucking up to Roman Reigns, I said that this was going to be the vehicle to turn Sami into a massive babyface, and you thought it was crazy, and it's like obviously happening right now. Like, I called this months and months ago, and I remember your reaction was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't see Sami turning he's such a heel. You remember this conversation we had, John? You remember this?
The thing is, Montreal didn't happen. Montreal really helped turn Sami face because I think they saw that reaction that he could possibly get, and that swayed everything, I think. Like, you could tell, like, his push changed after that moment.
I think it was headed that way regardless of Montreal.
No, like, to this extent, I don't know about that. Like, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. The fact that it's even going this long and they're actually giving it a lot of time, like, I think Montreal played a huge part in that.
So you're not giving your hometown. You're not going to give me the credit. You're saying you're not going to give me the credit for calling this months and months ago. Anyway,
you were right, but I think Montreal helped make this into a bigger thing than it was. I think it was going to be a little thing, but now it's a bigger deal. Now it's like main event deal, pretty much.
You might be right. It was a hell of a segment to open up SmackDown, and then the rest of the show happened.
I missed Action Bronson. You were talking. He was in and out of the ring, I guess.
He hit a couple of shoulder tackles, and he tagged out. I mean, that was it.
Okay.
He didn't do much.
Well, I shouldn't expect much more.
No.
It should be just that stuff, I guess.
Yeah, a couple shoulder tackles. He might do a slam at some point, pick up a guy and slam him, and that'll be it.
I mean, he's not tall, but he looks like he's got some muscle on him.
Oh, yeah. This is fantastic. I love seeing Action Bronson doing this. He'd be a good wrestler, I'm telling you.
He's a good character. Taking a beating right now.
Yeah.
Hook doesn't usually take this much of a beating.
Well, they got to stretch this match out, and who's going to take the heat here? It's got to be old Hookster. It's the babyface tag team. It's a 2-hour Rampage, John. 2 hours.
Yeah, we're long night tonight.
Got to give a shout out.
Our show usually goes 2 hours.
Got to give a shout out to Tony Mack watching us out in England. Member of the team, join.ringsidereport.net if you have not joined already, or donate.ringsidereport.net as Doug Hepburn has done. Thank you, Doug. Shout out to Doug Hepburn out in Kingston, Ontario. Silent by Deadly. I'm not sure where Silent is from. Silent is a member of the team as well. Lauren is in Côte St. Luc. I know where that is. Watching AEW Rampage right now. It's Wrestling Uncensored. We're here on a Friday night, as we are every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Ringside Report Network.
Tag coming up.
Oh, here comes action.
Tag.
Ducks a clothesline. Another shoulder tackle from Bam Bam.
Really
And a clothesline.
Shoulder tackle.
And see, here comes a slam. Oh, almost dropped him. He's got Angelo Parker up with a running power slam from Action Bronson. Goes for the cover and
broke up immediately.
Broken up right away by Daddy Magic. And it's 2-on-1. Why isn't Hook even attempting to get in the ring to help Bronson? Because Bronson's going to do
what the hell was that?
A shoulder tackle on one of them, and Daddy Magic just fell for no reason. What happened?
That was weird.
What happened?
Like someone blew a tire or something.
Something happened there. I don't know. Is Daddy Magic okay? Oh, my God.
He wasn't wrestling much before this, so maybe he had a bit of an injury coming into this.
Maybe. Oh, my God. He just fell.
Transmission.
Oh, Hook's got him in the thing. Bronson has got Daddy Magic in the transmission, and they're both going to tap out. Oh, no. Yeah, they're both down. They're both going to tap out, and that's how this match is going to end. Okay. It was all right.
Except for that little hiccup. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah. Crowd loved it. Crowd was going crazy. They're on their feet. Crowd's on their feet. This AEW Grand Slam crowd was hot. Like, this was taped on Wednesday night, right, after Dynamite, and that Dynamite show felt like a pay-per-view. It's really good.
You got to give the crowd a lot of credit, too. I mean, it's a lot that they took in on Wednesday to still be into it. It's tough. That's not easy to do. Now we got Eddie Kingston talking here. I guess
some sort of suicide. No, this is a PSA for suicide and crisis helpline.
Oh, okay.
There's Powerhouse Hobbs talking and Ref Aubrey and stuff. Silent by Deadly's from Edmonton. WWE is going to be in Edmonton on Monday. Are you going to Raw, Silent? WWE is in Canada next week. They've got Raw in Edmonton, Smackdown in Winnipeg. Could we see the debut of Kenny Omega in Winnipeg? I don't think so. Although you never know these days. Who knows?
It looks like they got a crummy main event like Raw did this week.
Yeah,
what another Bailey main event.
Oh, yeah. Raw was particularly bad this week.
I remember you telling me Bailey was good. What happened?
Who'd she wrestle this week? I mean, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of excuses. Oh, she's wrestling Aaliyah. Oh, she's wrestling Bliss. Like,
well,
is it everything good?
Put her in the ring with Sasha Banks or Bianca Belair. Like, the Bianca match at Extreme Rules will be good, right? It should be. Maybe it won't be. I don't know.
Now. I have my doubts here.
Well, maybe Bailey is rusty. I don't know. But, yeah, it wasn't great. But it's not like Bailey was bad. It just was a flat match that no one cared about. Bailey and Alexa Bliss is your main event of Raw? On a Raw that was terrible. It was really bad this week. Everything they did was bad. The matches were pointless. They didn't have finishes. It's terrible.
I mean, I thought Kevin and Theory was a good match. Wasn't as good as their first one, but it was still a good match.
I'm sick of these distraction finishes. It's constant distractions. Bobby Lashley beat Seth Rollins in the opener, a match that lasted almost 30 minutes, took forever.
It's a good match, though.
It was fine, but the finish comes when Riddle shows up, distracts Seth, and then Bobby manages to win. Like, it's not like Bobby clearly won. You're watching the equivalent of a sitcom on TV. It's like 25 minutes, right? Like, it's the first 30 minutes of Raw. This match. Okay? It's a
Right.
half hour of television programming. And you have them kind of doing stuff. And at the end of the thing, what have we learned? Can Bobby Lashley beat Seth Rollins? Maybe, if Matt Riddle shows up. Could Bobby Lashley beat Seth Rollins otherwise? I don't know, because, it's not really clear. And we wasted how long watching them just kind of do wrestling moves on each other to get to that resolution? At the end of the 30-minute block, you got to give me something. You got to get Bobby won, but distraction finish is not giving me anything, because at the end of that segment, it doesn't tell me that Bobby Lashley's better than Seth or Seth is better than Bobby or anything. It just tells me that, hey, Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins are still feuding. Yeah, no shit. I've been watching the show. I know they're feuding. They've been feuding for 2 pay-per-views now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't want to sit through a long wrestling match where at the end I don't have a finish. If you're going to give me a match with no clean finish, like a distraction finish, make it 5 minutes. Don't make it over 15 or whatever, because it's like you're wasting my time. I'm sitting here invested in this match, and at the end, you give me this kind of unsatisfying resolution. It's a conclusion, but the conclusion sucks. The conclusion is, the match is Bobby versus Seth. Can Bobby beat Seth, or will Seth beat Bobby? It's a U.S. Championship match. That's the question before the match. And the conclusion is, well, Bobby could beat him if Matt Riddle shows up. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kevin Owens was the same deal. Like, him in theory had a good long match, and it's not the wrestler's fault. It's the booking. It's the writing. The wrestlers are going out there and doing what they can. They can't change the finish. The finish is the finish. So all they can do is go out and do their wrestling moves and try their best. And they do. The matches are good. But at the end of them, I'm left kind of flat. Kevin Owens beats Theory when Johnny Gargano shows up, grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase, distracts Theory, and then Kevin Owens is able to hit a super kick, a cannonball, then the pop-up powerbomb for the win. Right? So it's like, okay, can Kevin Owens beat Theory? Well, if Johnny Gargano shows up and distracts him, yeah. But can he beat him one-on-one, normal circumstances? I don't know. So Kevin Owens doesn't really gain much, and Theory doesn't really lose anything. You're just kind of left in the same spot all the time. And we're wasting just hours and hours just watching these guys do these moves, and at the end of the day, they don't mean anything, and they don't help anybody get over. So, the wrestlers are doing their job. It's the people that are telling the wrestlers what to do that are not doing their job. I don't know what Triple H has up his sleeve, but a Jefferson Airplane song or whatever is not going to cut it as far as creative. You got to do a little bit more than a white rabbit and a QR code cutely placed in different spots on your TV, I mean, it's cool, but it's not, you're not going to change the business. You're not going to move the needle.
But how is it cool? Because it got people wondering about Bray Wyatt coming back, which didn't happen. They got people into this 9/23. I thought it was 9/23, wasn't it?
26, I think. I don't know. I thought it might be Monday. I'm seeing stuff that it might be Monday. I'm not sure. I don't care. Bray Wyatt. But I what about the long matches with no resolution, John? I think that's a major problem with WWE. They give us these long matches, and the performers are busting their ass. They're hitting all these notches on their bump card. There's only so much these guys can do for so long, and it's really pointless. It's all pointless. And for the viewer, it's boring. Because that, like, well, they're going to have a match, but at the end, I'm not going to learn anything about what's happening in this company. Pointless. Pointless wrestling, wasting your wrestlers, wasting their health, wasting their good years for nothing.
Well, you got a clean finish right there. Joe gets the win right there pretty quick.
What's AEW? You just beat Tony Nese. Joe and somebody just beat Josh Woods and Tony Nese. Who was Joe teaming with? That match was short. Wardlow. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, yeah, but AEW, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like AEW a little bit more these days, because the wrestlers, we do get clean finishes. We get resolutions to matches. This week, though, we had a few kind of...
You did have some distraction finishes.
Yeah. And some interference finishes, right? Didn't the tag titles get swapped from interference?
Billy Gunn, yeah.
Billy Gunn interfered on Dynamite, and Jericho did a low blow. Everybody was cheating to win, right? Jericho did a low blow on Castagnoli to win the Ring of Honor thing.
Heel.
Yeah, he's a heel, but still. But then the next match, Daddy Ass hit his famouser on one of the swerves. Big swerve, little swerve. I don't know. I think it was little swerve. So we had a little bit of, but in the end, Pac and Orange Cassidy 2 ended with cheating, right? Pac hit Orange Cassidy with the bell hammer, but he's a heel, so it's allowed or whatever.
Well, the thing is that he had to take a shortcut to win. That was the whole thing that they were selling, is that Cassidy had him, but Pac had to cheat in order to get that victory. So to me, that was actually good storytelling. Like, you can cheat, it's fine, as long as it plays into the story. It's not just cheating for the sake of cheating. Now it looks like we're just going to beat the crap out of Sterling. That's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, I guess they cleared the heels out of the ring, and now Wardlow's going to powerbomb Mark Sterling. Whatever. Main event of Dynamite this week, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. Hell of a match. Jon Moxley beats Bryan Danielson. Clean finish there. Puts on a rear naked choke. Chokes him out. Bryan goes unconscious. Moxley's the new AEW champion.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's really too bad. Like, that was the time, in my opinion, to put on Danielson. Like, I think the crowd wanted to see Danielson win more. Like, to me, that was a mistake on their part. But now you're really like stuck with it. It's like you're going with Moxley now. That's it. Like, I don't think Danielson's going to be champion anytime soon. Sadly, that was his chance right there, and it's over. Sad.
I've never been prouder than right now to wear your shirt, Johnny North. I mean, come on. You're talking good about Bryan Danielson. This is amazing. You're sounding like me. It was a mistake not to put the world title on him. Even though I told you it wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to do it. They're going to go back with Moxley. It was obvious. MJF was already cutting promos on Moxley like he was the champion before Moxley even won the tournament.
It's true, yeah.
You picked.
And more
Remember
likely,
last week? You couldn't believe it. You're like, I can't believe that I'm picking Bryan Danielson and you're picking Moxley to win. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I want Danielson to win, but I didn't think it was going to happen. I really wanted it to happen. Of course, Bryan Danielson is such a great wrestler that he made me believe that it was going to happen during the match because that's how good he is.
Kicked out of his finisher twice. The Death Rider or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this looks like a title change.
He knows how to do it. He's very good. He can play with your emotions because he's a true wrestling artist. He's the greatest wrestler in the world today, Bryan Danielson. Has been for pretty much his whole career. And it's too bad that AEW didn't make him their world champion because Jon Moxley, to me, is a backup champion. AEW is already viewed as the B company. Now you have a B-level champion as your top guy. Jon Moxley is fine. Like, he is a fine wrestler. But I don't think he's Bryan Danielson or Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega or Hangman Page or CM Punk. I don't think he's elite. Like, he's fine. I mean, you know, the matches that he has, his main event matches, they're not lighting the world on fire. And I see him as a replacement champion. CM Punk gets hurt. Moxley wins the interim title. CM Punk comes back. Moxley beats him on that Dynamite match. But then they have the pay-per-view match, and Punk beats him. In the real match, the pay-per-view match, Punk beat Moxley and took the title back. Okay?
Yep.
Then Punk, in that match, gets injured, but we're not told that he's injured. Like, let's not forget, we have not been told anything about the whereabouts of the world champion. As AEW fans, all we know, I mean, we know that he's injured, but we also know that he's suspended. We don't really know what his status is. Is he injured? Is he suspended? Is he fired? What's his story? They haven't said his name. They haven't mentioned CM Punk, right? So we see CM Punk win the world title, beat Jon Moxley at All Out. Then we have this tournament, and at the end, well, Punk's not around, so I guess Jon Moxley's the champion. He's the backup. He's the backup champion. He's the B champion on the B wrestling show. That's the perception. That's how I look at it. Punk was already on your show, like, what, 3-4 weeks ago, saying Moxie's the third best guy in his own group, and it's a trend in his career. Stop me when I'm telling lies. And everybody in the wrestling world went, oh, shit, I can't believe he said that. Nobody in the wrestling world said, you know, that's not true. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, man.
Right.
Nobody in the world said, oh, wait a second. I think Jon Moxley's better than Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. Nobody said that. Nobody said, oh, I think Jon Moxley's better than Claudio or Bryan Danielson. I didn't hear anybody say that. Nobody disagreed when Punk said that. So you've established this on your TV show, and now this guy is supposed to be your champion? Now, hopefully he's just a transitional champion to MJF, and that's what everybody's telling me. Moxley's just a transitional champion. But again, that's what he is. He's just a backup guy until the real guy gets it. Stop me when I'm telling lies. Backup.
I mean,
you know, when they're wait, let me put it in terms you can understand, John. When your hockey goalie gets hurt, right? You have the backup goalie. That's what Jon Moxley is. He's the backup goalie. See, Punk would like that analogy too. He's your backup goalie. Punk's, you know, Martin Brodeur, and Jon Moxley's the other guy who's not Martin Brodeur. Martin Brodeur, hell of a goalie.
it would be Chris Terreri that was the backup, but regardless.
Whatever. Doesn't matter what his name is because he's not Martin Brodeur, bro. Come on, man.
Fine. Well, Terreri was all right in his own right, though. But, I mean, it works both ways, though. Moxley, you know, is a solid B+. And, you know, he suits as a champion for now because he's clearly just going to lose at Full Gear to MJF. And that's fine. I mean, would have been kind of rough, I think, for Danielson to win the title and then to lose it the next pay-per-view. Yes and no. Like, I think it would have been good to give him something. Now that he loses again, and like, I don't know how Dynamite ended for you, but for me, it ended with him taking the title away from Regal and then just went to Black. I don't know how Dynamite ended for you.
Yeah.
But that's what I saw.
Yeah, Bryan seemed mad. Regal had the belt. Bryan took the belt. It seemed like they had some sort of angle plan, but we didn't get to see it. I don't know what went on there.
I'm going to guess that Danielson gave the title back. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Or put it around Moxley's waist or something.
Something like that. I figure that's what happened. But maybe he also just, like, threw it down and walked out of the ring.
Maybe. But I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like it'd be a good moment for Bryan to win the belt and to beat MJF when MJF challenged for it. But that doesn't seem like what the, you know, I mean, obviously that's not the plan. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with MJF. Like, if MJF does win the title in November, right? Like, MJF is great, and I'm a big fan. But do you want to set a precedent of saying, hey, young AEW star, if you go and start talking about how you're not getting paid properly in public, and if you continuously talk about how you're going to go to the WWE and how much you love the WWE, we're going to make you the world champion in AEW. Like, the stuff that he's doing, albeit entertaining, is also, at certain points crossing certain lines and makes you wonder, like, should he be representing AEW? Should he be the world champion? Should you be rewarding this type of behavior with more than money? Because I understand pay MJF because he's a star and he's a great attraction on the show. But should he be the champion? Because being the champion is like a different thing. And I don't know. I'm not sure it would help the value of the title. And then once he becomes champion, like, what then? What then? I don't know if it's time for MJF to become champion. I think it would be good for MJF to, get the shot. Everybody thinks he's going to win, and then he just doesn't win. And he's mad about it. He's a very young guy. He doesn't need to be the champion right now. He's great and all, but I heard Chris Jericho say it. He's not as good as he thinks he is. He's not there yet. And I think that is true in a way. I think he's very, very good. He's a phenom, But he's 25, 26 years old?
That's right.
I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy right now to be the AEW World Champion, especially given the climate of AEW, where there's so much controversy at the top of the company with the Bucks and Kenny and Punk. There's so much turmoil there. Do you want a guy as your world champion, at the top of the card in the main events, as a leader of sorts in the locker room, who is also so controversial and so polarizing? What will that do for the AEW locker room? I'm not talking about the AEW TV show necessarily, but just kind of the company AEW and the message that they would send, that Tony Khan will be sending to the wrestling world and to his own wrestlers. I'm not sure that's the path you want to go down. I don't know. I like MJF a lot. Like, he's amazing. He should be paid more than he's getting paid. Whatever it is, it's still not enough. Whatever more money Tony Khan gave him, it's not enough for how good he is. But I don't know if he needs to be champion right now. I don't think he needs it. He's MJF. Who cares who the champion? I mean, Moxley's the champion. Doesn't matter.
Well, the way I kind of look at it, it's in terms of how over he is right now. And I don't know about you. I don't think he's ever been as over as he is now. And you've seen it before with other wrestlers. Like, you're only this over for so long. And it's happened before in the past where you kind of wait too long, and then the guy's not over by the time you put the title on him. I feel like that's what happened with Hangman. I feel like he was over, but they took too long to put the title on him. By the time they did it, it's like, okay, finally you're going to do it. Because it was supposed to be the pay-per-view at All Out, right?
See, I disagree with you there. I disagree with you there. And I think you know what I'm going to say, because I was saying that before they put the title on Hangman. Too early for Hangman. Not the time yet. I don't think that they took too long. I don't think they took long enough.
Yeah.
I think they should have waited. Because if you don't put the title on him at that point, then he hasn't been champion, and people are still wanting him to be the champion, wanting him to be the guy. Where now it's like, oh, he was champion and it didn't really work out, and now he's just another guy. Because now he's just another guy, by the way. And AEW seems to be punishing him. They're doing this big Grand Slam show. Where's Hangman?
He's in the main event tonight.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in that like battle royal for the ticket thing.
He's in a battle royal. Is he going to win?
Well, he's one of the main faces they showed on it, so he's a top contender.
He should win. Who else is in it that could win other than Hangman?
They showed Jay Lethal. I think they showed Penta. So Hangman's got a good shot here.
Oh, Hangman should win that. Okay. Unless they're punishing him. If they're punishing him, he's not going to win. But I think he should win because he's Hangman and he needs to, get back in the mix for that world title. I'm not a big fan of Jon Moxley as a world champion. His match with Bryan Danielson was good, but, everybody has their best match with Bryan Danielson. That's no surprise. Bryan Danielson is the second greatest wrestler of all time. Second only to Bret the Hitman Hart, as far as I'm concerned.
You got to think about it. We have, 7 or 8 Dynamites till the next pay-per-view? So, it's only been 8 weeks of him as champion. You don't have to put up with it that long. And, for the most part, he's just going to do promos.
Yeah. I mean, it's not... it won't be that bad. It'll be fine. How many times will he bleed between now and Full Gear? Over under. New world champion Jon Moxley. How many times will he bleed between now and Full Gear? You're saying 3 is the over under? I think that's fair. Now, is he going to go over or under that? Or will it just be right on the number? Will it be 3?
I like 3 as just
That's
right
a push.
on. Yeah.
I'd say over 3. I'm going to go with over. I'll take the over for that.
Wow.
I think the over should be plus money. The under should be, I don't know. So Moxley is the new AEW champion, and that's fine. Not as good as if Bryan Danielson was champion, but if Bryan Danielson was only going to hold it for 8 weeks before losing it to MJF, then forget about that. We don't need that right now. Bryan Danielson will be champion one day, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. It's too bad.
Well, it won't be this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess not. Toni Storm is the AEW Women's Champion. She beat Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, and Athena in a fatal 4-way to retain the AEW Women's title. The story of that match was Athena hitting a dangerous double drop on 2 people. One of them was Britt Baker, and Britt got Athena's whole body weight landing on her face and looked like she broke her nose again. Britt Baker's always coming up bloody in these matches, and it's not like Jon Moxley where he's taking a blade and cutting himself in the forehead. Britt's nose is just getting broken all the time. That was unfortunate. Athena just falling right on top of Britt's face. It was ugly.
Well, that's one of those moves. I think they just I have this idea. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll do it. I don't think they actually went over that whatsoever. It's just let's do this move. And I get it. There's a lot of pressure on them. They want to, showcase themselves and steal the show in a sense. But fortunately, things like that's going to happen. I felt Dynamite overall, there were moments like that throughout the whole show. Some moments that were just kind of sloppy.
Well, that's kind of AEW, right? They take a lot of risks. Speaking of risks, we got Rey Fenix and Jungle Boy in the ring together right now on AEW Rampage.
Jericho and Claudio. There was moments of Jericho and Claudio. You think that would be like a wrestling classic, and still kind of sloppy at some moments. When they got that guy from ROH involved, that kind of looked very bad. I don't know why they did that spot.
Yeah. Carrie Silken.
I wouldn't have done that. That just made everything look fake.
Yeah, it didn't look great. Back to the women's match, though. Toni Storm winds up winning after, I gotta imagine that match ended faster than it was supposed to, because...
I don't know. It was long enough.
Well, yeah, but Britt was kind of in the corner, bloodied up, and then Toni just kind of finished wrestling somebody, and then Britt went to roll Toni up. Toni reversed it, and it just ended. It seemed like, okay, let's just get the hell out of here because Britt's face is a mess, and we got a post-match angle to do. So Britt attacks Toni Storm after the match. Jamie Hayter shows up, and Jamie Hayter's been teasing leaving Britt Baker's side, but Hayter decides to join up with Britt and attack Toni Storm. And then Serena Deeb, who was in the match, she joins in, and they're all beating down Toni Storm and Athena. And then who makes the save but Saraya, who is a Paige from WWE. You know, hey guys, it's me, Paige. You remember her? She was in WWE.
There was a movie about her.
There was a movie about her with Xavier Woods. Which movie were we talking about?
I meant the movie The Rock made.
Oh, that movie. Yeah. That movie too. So Paige. Sorry, I mean, when you said there's a movie about her, I was like, I have to do a joke about the you know.
We both watched different movies, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. We're watching different movies. New Day. So, Paige shows up, and she walks down to the ring, and then everybody clears out, and the fans go crazy. And now Paige is in AEW. And there's some speculation as to whether or not she's going to wrestle, but I feel like, what the hell did they sign her for if she's not going to wrestle? But I think it was Meltzer who reported that she's maybe not cleared to wrestle. Because that was the issue in WWE. She couldn't wrestle anymore because she had a neck injury. But now, I don't know. It seems like WWE are very stringent with their medical clearances. They're kind of tough to clear. I know Bryan Danielson was saying, like, all the doctors outside of WWE were saying I could wrestle, but the WWE doctor's saying I couldn't. So they're trying to protect themselves. They're very protective. And maybe that's the case with Paige. I don't know. I hope she wrestles. I think she's going to wrestle. I think Paige even said, like, don't believe what you read in the dirt sheets or whatever, so I think she's going to wrestle. Paige, Soraya, whatever, you know. I'm calling her Paige until, I don't know, maybe forever. She's Paige. She's going to wrestle, right, John?
Yeah, I think so. I just got a little distracted. Jungle Boy got the win there. I didn't realize he won for a second, but Jungle Boy did win.
Yeah, it was a roll-up.
I think. Yeah. Seemed like it was an all right match.
Yeah, it was all right.
But going back to Soraya, I think she is going to wrestle. Like, I don't think she would have came back if she was just going to come back and just talk. I think the plan is to wrestle. I think you're right about how it's like doctors in WWE probably don't want her to wrestle, especially after that horrible incident that happened at that house show where she looked like she was paralyzed. Like, that was really scary. So I can understand how doctors wouldn't want that to ever happen. WWE wouldn't want that to ever happen ever again. The chance of that happening again, they wouldn't want to take that. So I understand that, but again, she probably feels differently. Other doctors feel differently. So I think she's going to wrestle. Maybe not right away, but I think it's going to happen.
Which is huge. She's a massive star for their division. Huge. I mean, if Paige came back to WWE, it would be huge. So for AEW to get a star the caliber of Paige, like, that's pretty good. And when Paige was wrestling, I don't know how she is health-wise. She hasn't been wrestling for a long time. But when she was an active wrestler, she was a hell of a wrestler. She's born into the wrestling business. She's been wrestling since she was a kid. I mean, she is a serious professional wrestler. You know, she's not just a star. She's not just famous. She doesn't just look good. She is a real bust-ass professional wrestler. So for AEW to have not only a star like Paige, but also a wrestler to give them the match quality of a Paige. Huge. She's easily the biggest star in their women's division by a long shot. As soon as she steps into that company, she's the biggest star in that division. I mean, if she were in the WWE, and we all know the WWE has the best women's division in the world, if Paige came back to the WWE, she might be the biggest star in the division. Charlotte's not around these days. I mean, right? If Paige showed up right now in WWE, it'd be huge for them.
Well, I think at one point, like, she was the best women's wrestler on the planet. So,
yeah.
And I think a lot of people remember that, and a lot of people look up to her as like the one who kind of paved the way for a lot of them. So I think a lot of people like respect her and think that, if she comes back and wrestles, that's a huge deal, and it's going to get people watching for sure. Like, the only thing I worry about is the ring rust, but that'll come off in time.
Yeah, if Paige can go, that'll be really great because she's a hell of a wrestler. So that's great for AEW and great for Paige that she's got, a new lease on professional wrestling. Very good. Pac beat Orange Cassidy on Wednesday night to retain the All-Atlantic title. Crowd was really into this match. It was all right. It was fine.
That was the only male's title that was successfully defended, I believe, right? Sudden champions all throughout.
I think so. Yeah, new champion in every other match, right? Well, every other men's match. Toni Storm retained her interim women's title.
Right.
The Acclaim beat Swerve in the Glory to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions with some help from Daddy Ass outside the ring. Billy Gunn, their manager there, the Acclaimed. That was a good match. And then Jericho, of course, opening the show, beating Claudio Castagnoli to become the new Ring of Honor World Champion after a low blow and a Judas effect. Jericho has brought interest to the Ring of Honor Championship for the first time in its run in AEW. And maybe for some people, the first time ever. Right? Jericho may be the biggest star. Jericho may be the biggest star to ever win the Ring of Honor Championship. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I saw apparently him and Punk are the only guys to ever win like the WWE Ring of Honor like titles, like the two main titles for that. And I believe the AEW titles as well. The only guys that actually do all that stuff.
Right, to do all three. To win the WWE Ring of Honor and AEW World title. Punk and Jericho. Only two guys to do it. Jericho winning the Ring of Honor title is kind of like Vince McMahon winning the ECW title, though. It's kind of like, what?
Well,
at this point?
If you're going to have like Ring of Honor as its own show, like who better than Jericho as the main guy as the champion? Like that makes a lot of sense. If they're going to have a new TV show, Jericho's the champion. That to me, like that's a smart idea. Like it makes more sense that Claudio lost like so early in his reign.
Mm-hmm. You got a new TV show. You're trying to get a new TV show off the ground. You're making Chris Jericho your world champion. I wonder where I've seen this before, John. Maybe with AEW Dynamite? Like, that's exactly what they did with this show.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Right? A little bit? What do you mean? They made Jericho the champion before AEW Dynamite started. That's exactly what they did. And now maybe they're trying to do it with Ring of Honor, get them a TV deal. I don't know. What was your favorite match that we saw here on Dynamite this week? Moxley and Danielson? That was mine. Despite the finish.
I like that one. Yeah, but I think the finish actually took away from him a bit more. It was like, really? He choked him out? Like, this is disappointing. So disappointing. So I think I'd have to go with the tag match, to be honest. Just like that was everything that needed to be.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Yep. The Acclaim now the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Are Swerve and Keith Lee going to break up now, or do they remain a tag team? Do they go back to WWE? What's the deal?
Well, I think you got to get a rematch in there for sure. I think there's more to play in this because, like, they never truly turned heel. So
Right.
maybe Swerve did, but Keith Lee was still kind of on the fence a bit. So I think, the Sami and Eddie Kingston thing looks like it's gotten personal really quick.
Oh, Sami
But,
called
yeah, I
him a
don't know.
fat piece of shit, and now Eddie Kingston's attacking him. They're using the real life thing that everybody knows about to
Why is the ref stopping him with the steps?
I don't know. So
That
now
was
Eddie
weird.
Kingston and Sammy Guevara are fighting, and they're
I think
having
he
a
was worried the
match.
steps were gonna fall in the crowd. I think it looked like.
Yeah, the ref had to kind of grab the steel steps for some reason. And MJF did a little promo with Wheeler Utah on the stage. And
That
Wheeler,
was bad for Wheeler.
yeah, Wheeler, yeah, didn't make Wheeler Utah
He
look
was-
very good.
But it's not his fault. They put him in a bad spot. They shouldn't have done that to him. Like that's rough. Like he couldn't defend himself.
No. It was like a promo battle against MJF, and it was Wheeler Utah in there with him. It didn't really make sense. And then Wheeler attacked him at some point, and then MJF fought back, and then also pushed Tony Schiavone, which was kind of crazy.
Did he like kick him too or something? Like he was
Yeah, I
on the
don't
ground,
know.
he's like pushing him.
He knocked Schiavone down, and then Big Cass showed up and grabbed Wheeler, and MJF hit Wheeler with the diamond ring. Big Cass is like MJF's new Wardlow or something.
History repeats itself sometimes. Yeah.
Eddie Kingston just took a nasty back body drop off the apron to the floor.
Oh, I saw.
That looked like it hurt. Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston right now on AEW's Grand Slam Rampage. We're in the second hour now of this Rampage show. Good God almighty. So, yeah, it was a pretty good episode of Dynamite this week. AEW's going hard. New tag team champions, new Ring of Honor champion. They got Paige debuting. You got a new world champion with Jon Moxley, right? I mean, a lot happened on the show. It felt like a pay-per-view. It was a 2-hour TV show that felt like a pay-per-view. You're watching it, and it's like, wow, this is a big deal. Everything is, everything was a championship match. Everything felt big time. You had kind of the downtime matches, like the Orange Cassidy and Pac match, but even that was really good, even though there's not too much hype there. The women's fatal four-way, that was all right, but then you have Paige showing up. That's a whole different deal. Adds a new level to that. Everything was solid. Pretty good.
Well, also the atmosphere too. It's like the biggest crowd I think AEW's ever assembled, really. So just to have that, the whole setup as well, it looked tremendous. Like it looked like AEW at its finest moment, really, in a sense.
Yeah. And all this while there's still all the controversy with, like I mentioned, 4 of their top guys. Punk, Kenny, and the Young Bucks.
Well, it makes you think, like, one, it got them more publicity, got more eyeballs on them to see what's going to happen kind of thing. But you also wonder what would it be like if they were there, So it's 2 ways to look at that.
I think it would be incredible if they were all there, right? I mean, you look at how good AEW is right now. I can't imagine that adding those guys would make the show worse. Although I know there are some people that think that it would make the show worse, right? On both sides. But I feel like there are more people that think that the Bucks and Kenny would make the show worse for some reason. Right? I feel like there are more people. There's a more vocal segment of the wrestling fans that are like, oh, it would be worse if Kenny and the Bucks were on than the fans that say, oh, it'd be worse if Punk was on. I don't think there's that many people that, are going to say, oh, Punk shouldn't be on. But I think there are a lot of people that hate the Bucks and Kenny. But I don't know if they really think that or they just kind of. I've seen clips of them flipping online and heard Jim Cornette talk about them, and then they just think that they're supposed to hate them. I'm not sure. What do you think it is, John? Like, I don't know.
It's a combination of things,
Well, like, people hate the Bucks, right?
Well, some people are siding with Punk, I could understand that. People are taking sides. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm not even talking about that. But I'm saying, like, there would be wrestling fans. I think you'd find more wrestling fans. Oh, my God, Tony Mac. Oh, God. I think
is he talking about the Sasha thing that happened when she got that kick in the back of the neck? Because, like,
yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
There are kids that watch this, so it's good that we say that stuff.
I think that there are more wrestling fans that would say, "Oh, the show is better off without the Bucks and Kenny." Right? There are a lot of people that would say that.
Really?
Don't you think?
Okay. I think it's split. I don't know. Some people would say it, some people wouldn't. It depends.
I think more people would say that than you would find people that would say, "Oh, it's better without Punk."
Well, I just think Punk was more popular, though. That was it.
Yeah.
It just, Punk brought him more of a fan base, so it's just because of that. Like, more people that watched Punk before AEW instead of people that have watched Kenny or the Bucks ever. It's just he's more popular, Punk.
Yeah, the WWE factor, too. I would like to see them all back on the show as soon as possible.
Right.
Hopefully,
it's gonna be a while, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I would really like to see them back as soon as possible, but I guess Punk's hurt, and Kenny and the Bucks are suspended. Like when? Like, okay, Punk's hurt. What about Kenny and the Bucks? They're suspended? For how long? How long is it going to take? You have these guys under contract. They're great wrestlers. They'd make the show better. Put them on. It's not like the shows are bad, but, like, it'd be nice to have them.
Super chat.
It would be nice, but, for now, they're going to be sitting out until they've decided how long this punishment is going to be. I mean, you've seen suspensions in the past where people just disappear. They don't talk about them. Like, Excalibur's been suspended, Kingston's been suspended. Yeah. You don't remember that because there's a video. Yeah, Excalibur got suspended because a video popped up where he said the N-word.
What?
You don't remember that? Like, yeah,
No?
that happened, like, I want to say within the first year of AEW that happened. Like, I think Eddie Kingston just won.
Did he make him tap out or choke him out with some sort of weird move that he has? It's not really a submission hold.
Well, it looks like he's got his armpit right in his face, so that's a nice smell, I'm sure.
See, when I see Eddie Kingston apply moves like that as, like, submission holds, I think, I don't know how difficult it would be to actually stretch Eddie Kingston.
I don't know why they have the doctor.
I look at Eddie Kingston and I think, I don't know. I think probably he has no idea what the hell he's doing. Because that's not a real submission hold.
Okay, now he gets security. That's good.
They're getting security and all sorts of people to get him to release it. But he's like...
They're all just standing there. He's not doing anything.
He's holding on to his forehead. That's not a submission move in any way.
Again, the armpit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nasty sensation, but that's about it. There's no, there's no choke. Oh, Sammy Guevara has won now by disqualification because Eddie Kingston is refusing to release the hold, and now he's attacking.
Now he's attacking
Eddie
security.
Kingston is attacking security. Okay. Yeah, Eddie Kingston's like beating up 10 guys. It's just not believable.
Is he going to beat up Jerry Lynn?
I don't know. Who cares? I've lost interest in this. That's ridiculous. No, he's not beating up Jerry Lynn because he's got too much respect. Fake. Eddie Kingston is only a tough guy to people that aren't tough. If you're actually tough, if you actually know what the hell you're doing, you look at Eddie Kingston like, who the hell is this guy? If you don't know how to do things, you might see Eddie Kingston as a dangerous individual, but I don't see that. I don't get it. He's not real tough. He's pretend tough. Oh, here's Diamante with Trina. Johnny North, what do you know about Trina?
I was like, wow, there's a new wrestler debuting. I was like, okay, that's nice. Apparently, she's not a wrestler whatsoever.
Oh, you know Trina? She's a rapper.
Apparently, everyone else did. Everyone else did, yeah. Well,
I knew Trina. Of course, I knew Trina. Trina from Slip and Slide Records with Trick Daddy. You know Trick Daddy.
That's the thing now. Everyone comes out with rappers now, right?
I guess. But Trina's kind of not as relevant today as she once was. It's just an odd choice for Trina to be there. Trina with Trick Daddy. I always remember her with Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy had one of the best songs ever. You know Trick Daddy's song? Uh-huh. Okay. What's up? Shut up. That was his song. Uh-huh. Okay. What's up? Shut up. That was the song. It was great. Great song. Uh-huh. Okay. What's up? Shut up.
Sounds like what this match is going to be, pretty much.
Uh-huh. Okay. What's up? Shut up. What a song. What a song. Trick Daddy from Miami. And Trina too. Trina has some songs. I think she was on Okay, What's Up, Shut Up. I think she has a verse on that. I wish I could play it, but I would get a copyright strike from the tube of you. All right.
I'm not expecting she's going to do much in this match in the corner.
It's Jade Cargill versus Diamante. I wonder if Diamante will be the one to break Jade Cargill's undefeated streak.
I think it might be over. Well, no.
Oh, no. Diamante slips out of the powerbomb, rolls her up for a 2 count. Jade looking for the punt kick. Diamante rolls her up again for a 2 count. Jade hits the punt kick. And this one should be over.
Over for the end.
Yeah. Jade Cargill! What a punt kick. Who does it better, Jade or Sheamus?
I mean, totally different styles, though. Sheamus is more of like a running one. Jade's like out of nowhere. So
yeah. Okay. You're being diplomatic there. You don't want to give me an answer. Sheamus was on Smackdown tonight. We saw the big shame. He was hanging out with the Brawling Brutes. He got attacked by Imperium. In the main event, it was the Usos beating the Brawling Brutes, Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. So Imperium comes out. They attack Sheamus. The Usos use it as a distraction. They hit a double super kick on Ridge and Butch. They hit their finisher, the 1D on Butch, 1, 2, 3. Usos retain the WWE Tag Team titles in the main event of SmackDown tonight. Match was okay. Was what it was. Yeah. Commentary was playing up dissension between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. That was like a story. Guess that's going somewhere. I don't know.
Again, the outside interference galore. Can't be a WWE match without outside interference.
Yeah. Well, plenty. Shout out to Harold Schneider, by the way. Number 1 fan for the Super Chat. Harold is a Super Chat leader tonight. Thank you, Harold. Harold
Jade
is our
wins.
number 1 fan. Of course Jade wins. Never in doubt. Jade's like the Yankees. She's a dynasty. Tony Mack earlier asked what sports teams we're talking about. What sports are these teams I mentioned? I think I talked about the Red Sox and Yankees. It's baseball, Harold. Tony. Tony's in England. I guess he doesn't watch baseball over there. Baseball. Major League Baseball. That's the only sport with a ball that I watch, I watch pro wrestling. Oh, Trina slaps down Diamante. Trina wants to be a baddie with Jade. That makes sense. Trina fits in with Jade way better. Trina and Jade
for a second
are both baddies. They shook hands. Oh, Trina is now with Jade.
That wasn't hard.
Yeah, that was not great.
Immediately switch sides.
Yeah.
Wow, we got a lot of matches tonight. I forgot that we get Hobbs and Starks rematch. Wow.
And the golden ticket battle royal too. Oh, the battle royal's next. What's the main event then?
Is it going to be Starks and Hobbs? Wow.
Okay, that's weird. Now here comes Hangman for the battle royal. What else happened on SmackDown tonight here while we get the battle royal started? Braun Strowman beat Otis. I thought that was not bad, actually. It was one of my favorite moments on SmackDown, just seeing Braun and Otis.
Attacking Hangman.
Oh, no. Who are these bad guys?
It's a lot of bad guys.
Oh, so many bad guys attacking Hangman. There's like the Private Party and the Butcher and Blade and some other guys. And now 2 Dark Order guys, Uno and 10, came to save Hangman. Roosh is there attacking Hangman. Why did everybody attack Hangman? And now there's just like a melee outside the ring. Oh, there's Johnny Hungy. Who's the guy with the mohawk?
Brian Cage?
Is that Brian Cage? Is Brian Cage still in AEW?
I mean, technically Ring of Honor, but Rampage is kind of like Ring of Honor at this point.
I guess. I don't know. There's a bunch of guys running in right now. We're on picture-in-picture in a commercial break. Who's that guy?
I don't think the match...
Was that Dalton Castle? It's Dalton Castle.
There you go. It's Ring of Honor Battle Royal.
It is Ring of Honor, guys. Oh, there's Danhausen. That was Dalton Castle. I recognize him because he had his 2 guys with him there. The boys or whatever they're called.
I think they're called the boys, aren't they?
The boys, yeah. Dalton's got boys with him. That's Jack Swagger.
Yeah, the match hasn't started, I don't believe.
Matt Hardy. No, everybody's outside the ring just kind of brawling. Daniel Garcia? Who's that? Who's that guy? Man, there's a lot of guys in this match. There's Johnny Hungy. Are the boys in the match? Weird. Who's that?
Someone else coming down.
Was that the Giant? Oh, no, it's Big Cass. I thought it was the Giant Paul White from WCW. I thought they went back in time somehow. Oh, man. Remember when Big Show used to have, like, blondish hair?
Yeah, I remember. That was early.
Yeah. Well, the Giant, Paul White in WCW. What did you think of Braun Strowman and Otis tonight? I liked it.
I mean, the crowd was into it. I just thought it was kind of simple and basic. At one point, it seemed like they got lost, but they got back on track pretty quick. But, I mean, it was just basic stuff, which is probably the best thing for them to do, but I wasn't blown away by anything they did, really. And the powerbomb looked kind of scary, but I thought he'd get him all the way up, but thankfully he did.
But, it was a fun match. I like to see 2 gigantic guys going at it like that. I want to circle back to the Usos match. Speaking about scary bumps. You made me remember that one that Butch took, where he just kind of like the Uso kind of flipped him, and he went in from outside the ring, or like on the apron to inside the ring to kind of outside the ring and rolled out. What the hell happened there? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember that moment. I can't remember that
There was
moment.
like a weird bump that Butch took at one point. It looked like a mistake. It just looked like a botched move that the Usos were trying to do to him, and he just kind of bounced around on the ropes in the corner and rolled out of the ring. Commentary was like, what happened to him? Is he okay? Like, they kind of sold it like he took a big move, but I think it was an error. It was weird, the way Butch kind of fell.
I'm vaguely remembering something where it's like something seemed a little weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in that match or it was in another match, possibly.
Go back and check the Butch. I'll send you a clip of the Butch bump. It was weird. Raquel Rodriguez beat Dakota Kai after Shotzi stopped Io Shirai and Bayley from interfering. Bayley, Io, and Dakota attacked Raquel after the match, but Shotzi made the save and cleared the ring. So Shotzi now seems like she's Raquel's new tag team partner. They're trying to establish that. Good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of damage control.
Well, Bayley was in her hometown this week, so they're really trying to push her like crazy right now. She's going for the title, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But not the best television, that's for sure.
No. They did a promo on Raw, and then Alexa Bliss and Bianca and Asuka showed up, and it was not great. And then Alexa Bliss and Bayley wrestled in the main event of Raw, and Bayley did get the win, of course, in San Jose, Bayley's hometown. And then Damage Control beat up Alexa and Asuka and Bianca, and that was the close of the show. And Bayley announces that it will be a title match at Extreme Rules between Bianca Belair and Bayley. And they made a lot of Extreme Rules announcements this week, the WWE. A lot of matches being made. A couple matches being made tonight, right? We had Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. That was on Raw. Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins in a fight pit match is going to go down at Extreme Rules. Bayley versus Bianca for the women's title, the Raw women's title. Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a strap match at Extreme Rules as well. So we have a bunch of matches announced. Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. Lots of matches being made for Extreme Rules, which is not too far away. A couple weeks. 2 more Raws and Smackdowns before Extreme Rules. It's on October the 8th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. AEW's got the Battle of the Belts show the same night. It's on a Saturday.
I mean, it will be going on at the same time because, if I'm not mistaken, Battle Belts usually is like 8 to 9.
Yeah, probably the same time. Did we ever figure out who the Mohawk Man was? Was it Brian Cage? Was it Sean Spears?
Is he still in the match? Hager's out.
I see a guy with a mohawk, and I think... Oh, who is it? Yeah, that is Brian Cage. Spears? Is it Sean Spears? No, I think it's Brian Cage.
Brian Cage, yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, it is Brian Cage. Brian Cage is in this Battle Royal. He's like eliminating Dalton Castle. Maybe he's feuding with Dalton Castle in Ring of Honor on a TV show that's only imagined in Tony Khan's head.
Well, they could start their angles here, it looks like.
Uh-huh.
I don't think Dalton was eliminated because he was caught.
Yeah, he was caught by the boys who are putting him back on the apron. Dalton not eliminated by Brian Cage. Dalton Castle, another Ring of Honor guy. So the ring was full here in this Battle Royal, and it's emptied out. We've got Brian Cage, Dalton Castle, Matt Hardy, Lance Archer.
Oh, Cage is out.
Did Cage just get eliminated? Yeah, he did. I think Private Party, Daniel Garcia, 10, Jay Lethal. Is Hangman still in this?
Well, he ever jumped at the beginning, right?
So
I don't know if he ever got in this. Or was he in this and then he was out?
No, I see him. I see him. Hangman's in this. Okay. The winner of this gets a title shot at some point. Right? Not whenever they want. Right. That was the distinction made. MJF has a chip, a poker chip that he won. That gives him a title shot whenever he wants. The winner of this gets a title shot, but it will be announced by the company. Like the company decides, like it'll be on a Dynamite or something, you know?
A special one for sure. I see someone talking about Deadly asked how much I weigh. It's 230.
What?
Someone asked me how much I weigh. Unlike other people in wrestling that decide not to disclose their weight, women mainly, I'll disclose my weight.
Well, that's a different story. Speaking of women's wrestlers, Liv Morgan beat Lacey Evans tonight. What happened to Lacey Evans?
What happened in this match? Like this was like NXT bad. Like
I didn't want to talk about the match. It was terrible. But why does Lacey Evans have face paint? Why is she not doing promos? Why doesn't she have a gimmick anymore? What happened? What the hell happened?
Well, Marines have face paint, no?
Not like that.
No, not like that at all, but for some reason she does. I just want to know, like, why do you stay laying on a table for like 30 seconds like that? Like, after you pretty much dominate the whole match, and then you can't even move afterwards because, like, she Russian leg sweeped you into the barricade and mainly tilted herself. You barely took anything, but you're dead for 30 seconds. Maybe more. It felt like forever she's on the table. And super Liv, by the way.
Sold that like crazy. But Liv doing the senton off the top rope, the top post thing there, to the outside, senton through the table on Lacey was pretty crazy.
It was pretty crazy, but the lack of selling was kind of disrespectful. Like, I mean, she sold that first because she probably actually was hurt. But then she got in the ring, was jumping up and down, not selling it whatsoever. It was like, well, that's good working right there.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Ronda wasn't even on the show tonight, so, they're having the match in a couple weeks, but we have to sit through Liv versus Lacey while we wait. Then it was New Day against the Maximum Male Models, and the New Day won that one by pinfall after the models were distracted by Maxine, who was just taking their picture, and then Max Dupree, who's the brother of Maxine, was mad and seemed to walk off and maybe is going to leave the group or find his own new group and feud with them. I don't know. I don't give a shit. Like, everything in WWE is terrible right now. There is no hot angle. It is, man. Other than Roman Reigns and the stuff that he does, which is solid, everything else in the company, like angle-wise, story-wise, is garbage. There's nothing interesting going on. Nothing. You watched Raw this week, it was 3 hours of nothing happening. Every story that they're trying to build is garbage. Dexter Lumis stalking The Miz. What else are they trying to sell us as a story in WWE? Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. What are the other angles, like actual angles going on in WWE? Oh, Judgment Day trying to recruit people, like recruiting Dominik Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio's transformation and turning on his father, and Judgment Day now recruiting AJ Styles. Like, these are the angles that they're running. Seth Rollins continuing to feud with Matt Riddle forever. Everything that they're doing sucks. Every single angle is boring and bad and played out. Stale, uninspired nonsense. There's nothing going on. It's so boring, man. AEW may be a little sloppy, but at least they kind of keep it interesting, you know? WWE is so boring. It's so boring. You got this pay-per-view in a couple weeks. Nobody cares. And they're getting by on the strength of their performers. Like, yeah, they have good wrestlers. But the creative is so bad right now. It is like watching paint dry, these shows. SmackDown tonight was so boring. Raw this week was just awful. I sat through the first 2 hours of Raw on Monday night, and I was like, this is just terrible. They're not giving me anything to sink my teeth into. Like, I want to enjoy this show. I like a lot of the people on the show. It's like watching a show where everybody's a good actor, but the writing is just shit. You're like, what is this? I like these people, but I don't know what they're doing on this show. Hope they're getting paid. It's not good.
I'm not going to disagree that Raw wasn't a good show this week, but, you know, like, we've seen Raw as lowest, and, you know, Raw can be a lot better, and I think it will be better next week. Usually when you have that Canadian crowd, it kind of lifts up the level of action, I find. Like, you saw when they came here in Montreal, like, the show wasn't great, but the crowd made it much more better. Like, the show was better than a lot of the action we saw.
Okay. It's a TV show, though, John. They only come to town like once or twice a year. Doesn't cut it.
Edmonton, how long has it been?
I don't live in Edmonton. What are you talking about? Drew McIntyre promo tonight on SmackDown? Extreme Rules. Strap match. Scarlett shows up. Karrion Kross attacks him from behind. Drew attacks him back. Scarlett threw a fireball at Drew, kind of. Not really. And then Drew, like, didn't even sell it. Drew's like, fireball. And then he, like, keeps beating on Karrion Kross. Like, what? And then it took Scarlett to punch Drew in the dick to finally stop him. And then Kross choked out Drew. What a terrible segment that was. It was terrible.
But did you see afterwards on the replay that they just showed the still of the fireball, like, it came up for a second, right?
Yeah.
And they just said, he was blinded. Even though he didn't sell it whatsoever, they still went with the story that he got blinded. Again, like, what we saw and what they're going to tell you is two different things now in terms of the story.
Right.
We saw Scarlett. With the fact.
We saw Scarlett shoot a fireball like 2 feet away from Drew McIntyre. Drew kind of sell it. And then Scarlett punched Drew in the balls. That's what really happened. She punched him in the balls. It's Roosh and Hangman right now in the finals. They're the final two in this battle royal, so maybe Hangman will win. Or maybe it will be Roosh. It could be Roosh. Because with Moxley, you know, as champion, you might want a heel challenger like Roosh. Give him a good match.
Yeah, but Hangman's more of a name, though. So I don't know. And yes, Timothy, I did answer that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's funny, but it's...
Hangman just hit the dead eye on the apron. Hangman wins the battle royal. Hangman! Crowd goes banana. Let's go, Hangman! All right. Let's go. Hangman Page wins.
Why was this not the main event? I don't understand.
Oh.
I mean...
Cincinnati. They're saying it's Hangman versus Moxley in Cincinnati for Dynamite in Moxley's hometown. That's when Hangman is getting this match. And that is going to be, I could tell you exactly when, that'll be on the 19th of October in Cincinnati. So it's not next week or anything. They're saying Cincinnati. And let's see, this week, AEW is going to be in Philadelphia. Next week in Washington, D.C. The following week in Toronto. And then the week after that in Cincinnati. So it's still like 4 weeks away. Title match.
Well, it's probably their next big Dynamite special, right? Or it has like a title to it, more than likely. Because we just had Grand Slam, which was kind of a special thing. So, yeah, they got to wait a couple weeks to do the next big one. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also 4 weeks, that thing. Then 4 weeks, you have the pay-per-view.
Yeah, a little build.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Hangman's going to get a title match with some build. It's not bad. Going to get some Hangman stuff. I like it. I like Hangman in a big position in AEW. It makes sense to me. He's one of the top guys in the company. It feels like since he lost the belt, he hasn't been treated that way.
Well, I
Moxley,
kind of agree with
yeah, we both think Mox is going to lose the title in November there.
Yeah, he's going to beat Hangman, though.
Yeah, Moxley would beat Hangman, but he'd probably lose to MJF at the next pay-per-view in November at Full Gear. Shouldn't be a long run for Moxley. So yeah, AEW making some moves. WWE, again, just stale. Watching Raw this week, Lashley and Rollins. Lashley beats Rollins after Riddle distracts Seth. Damage Control did a promo. Kevin Owens beats Austin Theory after a distraction from Johnny Gargano. And then after the match, Gargano dropped the Money in the Bank case on Theory's balls for comedic effect. I think the best part of Raw this week was the Roman Reigns Logan Paul video package. Again, like Roman Reigns, the stuff he's doing, it's good. Everything else is so bad. There's no movement in the story. It's so boring. It's like they're not even paying attention. I like that video package. Roman Reigns, Logan Paul, official for Crown Jewel. Official.
I'm not really looking forward to the match, but again, that's the biggest name they could possibly get to make it interesting, I guess, because it's more of a attraction kind of match instead of like a match you really want to watch. But you know, it'll get people watching that don't usually watch WWE, so that's what they want to get happen. But we should also have the things like, how bad was Dominik this week? Because I feel like every week it gets like worse and worse. Like,
oh, he's so bad. Yeah.
But he got good heat though. Like, man, the people hated him.
Well,
I mean, it's more like X-Pac heat, but still, like, they were eating that heat up.
That promo, that in-ring promo was so bad. The Judgment Day promo and Rhea Ripley saying Dominik is now a man. He was a boy and now he's a man because I pegged him or something. I don't know. Finn says that Dominik is a brave man. Damian says some Spanish things to him and says he doesn't walk in Ray's shadow anymore. And Dominik says he's proud to be standing with his real family, the Judgment Day. And then they do a family photo. Finn and Damian Priest beat Rey Mysterio and Matt Riddle after Seth Rollins hit Riddle with a chair. And Rey Mysterio got distracted by Seth and Dominik and wound up getting finished by Judgment Day. Dominik's terrible. I mean, you know. But he fits in with this group because they're all terrible. This group is terrible. Anytime Finn and Damian Priest start talking, I just tune out. Terrible. I don't like Judgment Day. I didn't like their feud with Edge. I don't like that they're bringing AJ Styles into this thing now, feuding with him. Finn offered him a spot in the group. AJ didn't want it. Finn's like, oh, what are you, looking for a fight or something? No, you're not looking for a fight. We're friends. And then he hugs AJ. I guess he thinks he's going to turn AJ, but AJ seems like he's not going to join his group, and, they'll wrestle eventually. But, who cares? Who cares? I don't care. Do you care? Do you care about anything Judgment Day does? Dominik Mysterio, any of that bullshit? And when you watch Raw, are you like me? And you're just like, oh, again? These guys? Every time they come out, I'm like, oh, no, not these guys. I almost forgot that they exist. And then they get so much TV time. They're doing in-ring promos. They're doing matches. They're doing backstage promos. They're doing video packages to remind you who these guys are. And it's like, holy shit. I get that this is a new group you're trying to get over, but we hate them. And they're really boring. They're really boring. Ugh. Like, I like Finn Balor, but I hate this Finn Balor. I hate it. It's like so bad.
I understand. Like, it's tough because they're forcing this, and it's not coming off very well. But they got to give him a shot here with Dominik. It's like we said, it's sink or swim here. I mean, he's definitely sinking to the bottom of the ocean without question right now, but you got to let him try here. Like, he's got to speak up on the mic. I mean, you could tell, like, they have to, like, boost that mic up so much because he is, like, whispering when he talks. I guess he just has, like, a very low voice, but still, like, he's got to work on that. I mean, again, people are coaching him, but I don't know if it's working. It's not working so far.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, when I watch wrestling, that is not what I envision. When I think about professional wrestling, Dominik Mysterio does not come to mind. Or anybody that looks or sounds like Dominik Mysterio. Yet, he's dominating so much of Monday Night Raw, the flagship program of the WWE. You know what I mean? If you would have told me in 1993, showed me a picture of this guy and said, he's going to get a lot of TV time on Raw, I've been like, what? Have you ever seen Yokozuna? This guy looks like the guy from the crowd that gets squashed by Yokozuna. This guy looks like the jabroni they find to take the bonsai drop, and that's it. He's not a guy who gets to wrestle matches, to talk in the ring. And no, Dominik isn't a fucking rookie anymore. Guy's been in the WWE for what, 3 years now? It's enough already.
Close to it.
No, it's enough.
To 3 years now.
Yeah, no. It's ridiculous.
Rookie heel, I guess. His first time being a heel.
Look.
So I'll give him a couple weeks at least.
A couple weeks? How long does it take to get some fucking steroids, John? How hard can it be?
Well, it's not the size.
Get on the gas and hit the weights. Eat some steaks. What's the matter with you? Well, I mean, seriously, I am not recommending steroids for anybody except Dominik Mysterio. Johnny doesn't need steroids. But look at him. He's jacked to the gills. I don't need steroids. I'm super jacked. Dominik Mysterio needs steroids. Needs steroids now. He needs something. Because as soon as his daddy decides, like, all right, that's enough, I got to retire, he's going to be out of a job. And then what's he going to do? It's going to be tough. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But we see with a lot of wrestlers, I mean, you don't need to look super jacked anymore. You just have to be able to get your point across on the mic. And I find, like, he really never got his point across whatsoever. Like, it was the crowd that just drowned him out, and then everyone else kind of coached him in the ring, pretty much.
It's so bad.
But they are going to put, it doesn't matter if people like this or don't react to this whatsoever, they're just going to force this down our throats no matter what. So I just hope he gets better at it and it becomes more entertaining because it is rough to watch. It's
Is
one of the hardest
anybody
parts to watch
watching?
the show.
I mean, how could you watch
People are
any of
watching.
Raw and want to watch more of it?
We watch every week, so what does that say to us?
I
Like, how
only
crazy
watch
we
every
are.
week because I have to talk about it on this show. And honestly, like, sometimes I skip over some shit because I've just had it. There's some matches I will
It's a
tell
long
you
show.
I did not watch. Like the third hour of Raw. Like I watched the first 2 hours of Raw, and then I went to bed because I'd had enough, and it was late, and Daddy has to get his rest to wake up super early in the morning, right?
Right. I understand.
And it took me until this afternoon to watch the third hour of Raw because I was like, well, shit, SmackDown's on in a couple hours, and I got to do the show, so I got to catch up on the final hour of Raw. I was putting it off all week. I watched the first 2 hours on Monday night while watching the Yankees because, you know, it was Monday night. I was watching TV. Kids go to bed. I have a couple hours before I have to go to bed, so I watch Raw. The only reason I did not watch Raw because I wanted to watch Raw, by the way. I watched Raw to get ahead of the work that I have to do, to get ahead of my workload for the show, which is watching Raw, because I see it as a chore. I was excited for Dynamite this week. I wanted to watch AEW Dynamite. I did not want to watch Raw. And especially after I saw the first 2 hours of Raw, and then I read the results the next morning to see what happened, I was like, man, the first 2 hours of Raw sucked. Did they pick it up? Did they do anything in that third hour to kind of make things better? And I was like, oh, no, they didn't. They didn't. They did, after they did, you know, they did a Finn Balor, Damian Priest match. They did the Miz and Dexter Lumis bullshit. And then they did Bayley and Alexa Bliss in the main event. That was the third hour of Raw. Utter garbage.
Well,
It's all
I
bad.
found that they pushed their main event because like Seth Franklin against Bobby Lashley, like that was supposed to be the last match, but they put that first because of Monday Night Football starting, and they were trying to win the ratings. So I feel like they put their best stuff out right away, and they didn't have anything left really for that third hour. And the third hour was kind of rough in the end.
If that's their best stuff, they need to get better stuff. That's their best stuff that they had in the first 2 hours. It was not good. I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy that 2 hours of wrestling.
Match wise was good. It's just the booking was kind of rough. That's the problem, you know.
I can't, again, man, like I don't want to sit through a wrestling match where they're just doing some, and like match wise, it was good. But it wasn't like, oh my God, did you see that match? It wasn't one of those things where it's like, wow, this match was so good. I just saw a comment that just fucking blew my mind. I'll address it in a second.
Well, I just want to
Timothy
address
Williams,
one
I
comment
think
about,
you're a
like,
little off the mark when it comes to what we like in professional wrestling. I'm seeing a couple of his comments fly by, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is this guy saying? Thank you
I
for
kind of
joining
agree,
us
like,
here tonight, Timothy. I see you're new to the show. Join.ringsidereport.net. Sign up. $5 a month. Become a member. Support the show. But he just said, I think we will be less disappointed if Edge comes back and The Fiend comes back. I think I'll be very disappointed if we see The Fiend. I don't want to see that guy at all.
I want to see Edge.
Is terrible. I don't even want to see Edge anymore.
What?
I don't
Edge is
like
great.
Edge these days. Edge hasn't done anything interesting in a while. Because he's feuding with Judgment Day. It's terrible. I'm not so interested in seeing Edge or whatever the hell he's trying to do. And I'm really not interested in seeing Bray Wyatt in any shape or form. Fiend, Bray, whatever he is. I don't want to see him. White Rabbit, whatever the hell that is. If that thing isn't Bray Wyatt, what the hell is it?
Well, I saw some people were saying that it's supposed to be Karrion Kross. Something about with Cross being like the White Rabbit, because I guess there was also like an hourglass apparently with it as well. So
Yeah, people were saying it's Karrion Kross and that was his gimmick, but why would they add to his gimmick now when he's already in the company with a gimmick?
yeah, I don't disagree, but if it is Bray, I don't think he's come. He obviously didn't come back tonight, and if he's coming back, it's not right now. They're gonna wait for like a big moment. I don't think this Monday Night Raw is gonna be that moment.
Well, they need something to make Raw more interesting. A return is something.
That's
Hey,
true.
there's a guy we haven't seen in a while. There he is, People like that. Until like 2 or 3 weeks into it, and you're like, shit, he's still here. Fuck. I don't want to see that. Tony Mack says, get Hornswoggle back. Exactly. Correct. That's who I want to see back. Hornswoggle, not Bray Wyatt. Give me old Swoggle. AEW is more entertaining at the moment than WWE, Tony. I agree. But it goes back and forth,
Yeah,
I feel like a couple months ago we were saying the opposite, right? WWE was doing good. Like when Triple H first took over, it seemed like, oh, they're turning a corner, they're doing different things. But now that we're kind of a couple months in, it's like, what has he really done? He's brought back Johnny Gargano and Braun Strowman and Karrion Kross. And that's about it. And what have they really done? Braun Strowman is doing the same thing he always did, which is just like squashing low-level, mid-level guys, which is how he was introduced when he first started, really. And Johnny Gargano is, existing, feuding with Austin Theory in a thing that no one cares about. And Karrion Kross is feuding with Drew McIntyre in something that I just, who cares? Everything they have going on. Dexter Lumis was brought back to feud with The Miz. Oh, he's showing up under the ring. Oh, we're all scared of Dexter Lumis. Miz with his over-the-top reaction. Tommaso Ciampa has to sell it too. Poor bastard. It's just ridiculous. Everything is just ridiculous and stupid in WWE. If this is what Triple H booking looks like, if this is the head of creative, bring Vince back.
Well, I found SummerSlam was a fantastic, premium live event.
That was booked by Vince mostly, though. That was all Vince stories going into it.
It was. And I think it just goes to show you that, he had a lot of good ideas regardless of what people thought of him. Like people say he was outdated, he wasn't up with the times. Like he still could put on a good show. He could still entertain you.
Sexually harassing his employees, things like that.
He did some things. I believe allegedly still, right? It still hasn't been proven, allegedly.
Well, no, he paid off some women because of some improper activities. Come on.
We don't know all the details about that stuff.
He paid off some women. We know enough details to know that, come on. Things happened. They weren't good. He had to quit. He had to quit.
Things happened.
Yeah.
But he still put on a great... SummerSlam was still a fantastic show.
Yeah.
And
so
I think maybe it was...
So was the last pay-per-view. Was the last pay-per-view SummerSlam? Didn't they have one?
No, Clash at the Castle was the last premium live event.
Oh, yeah, that was not very good.
That was okay with some matches, but
Walter
overall,
and Sheamus.
Right. That was great. Fantastic. Arguably, match of the year.
Yeah. Everything else was kind of weak.
But again, you got to give Triple H some time here. He's new at this. NXT wasn't exactly a success right away. It took time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to give him time here. It feels like he's just trying to figure out where people go right now. Because it feels like people were kind of all over the place, and now he's intertwining stories.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to get a good footing with people now, I feel. He's got to work on that whole outside interference stuff. It's way overdone. but he'll figure that out hopefully.
Yeah. Ricky Starks just beat Will Hobbs in the main event.
Rampage is finally over.
My
wow,
God.
it was a long show.
It was a long show. It had its moments.
Well,
Action
no
Bronson.
offense to Starks and Hobbs, but that shouldn't have been the main event. That felt like it was way too long.
Hangman should have been the main event, winning that battle royal.
Yeah.
Hangman's the hero of the show. He should have closed it.
It's actually Ricky Starks, actually, but yeah, it should have been.
Yeah, why though?
I guess it's kind of like they do this a lot. It's like to make up for the fact they only had like 3 minutes or 5 minutes on the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Roman Reigns, Logan Paul official for the Crown Jewel. I think that's a good move. We talked about it last week. They made it official this week. I thought the promo they did, the video package and the press conference was really good. Logan Paul knows how to sell a fight. He's one of the best.
Is he gonna be there next week? More than likely not, but
who cares?
I don't.
Pay-per-views in November. We're not building for Extreme Rules in October. We're building for Crown Jewel in November. So we got time. He doesn't have to be on every show. He's one of the biggest stars in the world. You expect him to be on every show? This guy is money.
He's going to be. I like to see him every so often. Like, we still have Survivor Series. Like, are we just going to forget about this until Crown Jewel comes up like a week or two away? I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Forget about what?
Well, we've got Extreme Rules, then we got Survivor Series. Then I think we have Crown Jewel, right?
No.
Oh,
Crown Jewel is before.
Series.
Yeah, Crown Jewel is November 5th. Survivor Series is November 26th.
Okay.
So you've got some time. Survivor Series in Boston, War Games, by the way. It will feature 2 War Games matches. Now, I'm not clear. Is that instead of the traditional Survivor Series matches or in addition to?
Yeah, that's not really clear too much. But I'm guessing you can still get Survivor Series matches. It's just we're not doing Raw versus SmackDown, how that was the whole theme of the show, right?
Right.
I think that's kind of done away with now because, everyone's every show possibly at this point now. We saw Street Profits on both shows. Alpha Academy's on both shows. So it doesn't really matter. So now I think they're just going to do War Games as the big deciding thing for Survivor Series.
5-on-5 War Games. Do you do the Bloodline as a
sure.
as a team?
100%. Against all their rivals, You put them up against like KO, put them up against Drew, put them up against. Well, you can put Seth Franklin in there too. All their top rivals, pretty much.
Book it. Roman, okay. Sami.
I got 3 of them so far.
Jay, Jimmy, Solo versus Seth, Drew on the same team. Like everybody against the Bloodline. Not not a team full of baby faces.
Just a team that's against the Bloodline, yeah.
Just a group of heels and baby faces to take on the evil Bloodline.
A powerful group to take on the Bloodline. Yeah, that makes sense. Then you wonder if they can work together or not.
So who do we have? Drew, Logan. No, not Logan.
No, Logan's not going to be there.
Drew, Seth, Riddle.
Drew, Riddle, yeah, sure.
Drew, Seth.
That adds more to it.
Bobby, maybe.
I'd actually put Bobby against Gunther, I think. Champion versus champion.
Mm-hmm. Kevin
I'd still
Owens.
Do that as far as
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, KO's going to be there. Yeah, for sure.
Drew, Seth, Kevin Owens, Riddle, and somebody else.
I like that. Timothy said Edge. Yeah, I'd go with Edge.
You know, it'd be big. I don't know if it's possible.
Cool.
Randy.
I thought you were going to say Cena because it's in Boston, but okay.
Yeah, unlikely. And Randy would fit.
Yeah, but do you want to throw Randy back in after he's come back from a big injury into like a War Games match? I don't know about that.
If he's healthy.
Remember, this is War Games. War Games is now without the top of the cage anymore. I don't think you want to put Randy in that kind of match. It's not really for Randy. I think you want to put guys like KO, put Seth in there. Guys that would thrive in this kind of environment, I think.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even Sheamus. Well,
maybe even, yeah.
I guess we'll have a men's War Games and a women's War Games, because when they're saying 2 War Games matches, it'll probably be one for, each division.
I think they said that it's going to be a men and women's one. I think that's already been announced.
Uh-huh. So Damage Control with 2 other people against a group of babyfaces?
Makes sense.
Against Alexa, Bianca, Asuka, and 2 babyfaces? Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi?
Sure, yeah.
And Damage Control could have, Lacey Evans and Natty Neidhart or something. It doesn't really matter. So Survivor Series is going to have War Games. Coming up on Raw, we got Kevin Owens and Johnny Gargano against the Alpha Academy in Edmonton. Raw in Edmonton, Alberta. What famous wrestler comes from Edmonton? Gee, I don't know. Was there ever a famous wrestler from Edmonton, John? I know the Hearts were from Calgary, but Edmonton, gee. I know there's one guy, I don't know, he was Rabid, Wolverine, a Crippler, Murderer, you know what I'm talking about. Chris Benoit, home of Chris Benoit, Edmonton, Alberta. The Canadian Crippler. Like, when I think of Edmonton wrestling, I think of Chris Benoit. Is that wrong? Because he's like the only famous Edmonton wrestler that I can think of. Why aren't they going to Calgary so I don't have to think of Chris Benoit? Go to Calgary so I can think of the Hearts. Why go to Edmonton so you make me think of Benoit? No?
Well, they were just probably able to get the arena in Edmonton.
I guess.
Was probably just able to secure that date. Like, I do think of Edmonton in that match, Benoit against Austin. I think it was on Smackdown. I think, was it after King of the Ring and before King of the Ring 2001? But that was a phenomenal match.
Yep.
That was a really, really good match. So, it's sad a lot of people never see that match because, like, that was a great wrestling match. One of Austin's best, I found.
Yep. I do remember that match. It was pretty damn excellent. So they're in Edmonton Monday. It'll be Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano versus Alpha Academy. It'll be Matt Riddle versus Damian Priest. Sheamus versus Gunther rematch set for the season premiere of SmackDown in 2 weeks, they said. Not next week's SmackDown in Winnipeg. The SmackDown after in Worcester, Massachusetts in October. Next week's SmackDown in Winnipeg, Raw in Edmonton. Coming back to Canada. They did a Raw in Toronto and then a SmackDown in Montreal. Now they're doing a Raw in Edmonton and a SmackDown in Winnipeg. How about it? And that's about it, John. I think we've covered all the wrestling.
There's a lot of wrestling this week.
Oh, my God. So much wrestling this week. AEW doing a 2-hour Rampage. It's like, what? Usually Rampage is a show like we don't really have to care about or pay attention to because it's really nothing. But tonight was like a real show, They did things. They had matches. They had celebrities. 2 rappers involved in matches.
I felt the first hour was pretty good. They kind of died out in the second, but I think maybe that was the plan, was just to suck people in the first hour.
Yeah, the first hour was cool. It had the Sting and Darby match, which was pretty good, with the Great Muta showing up, which was weird but fun. And then you had Action Bronson's match, which was cool. I'm blanking. What else did we do? Sami Guevara and Eddie Kingston. That was all right.
Yeah, that happened too. Yeah.
Jungle Boy and Rey Fenix was okay. I don't know. It wasn't terrible.
Like
Jade
in the first
Cargill and
hour,
Diamante was short enough. The Battle Royal was interesting. The main event was pretty good. I just kind of stopped caring at that point.
Well, we already saw a no DQ match to start the show, and then we end the show with a no DQ match. It was a little too much with the stipulations.
Yeah. Yeah. But, AEW does that a lot. This was a lights out match, right? That's why it main evented. I'm just realizing now. They announced it as the lights out match, so it's like when the show's technically over, it's like unsanctioned.
Well, that sucks for Ricky Stark because that doesn't count on his record then.
Right.
So that's kind of crummy, actually.
Yes. Oh yeah, Braun Strowman could be in a Survivor Series match. That makes sense against the Bloodline.
I guess. It would be crummy to put him in that match, though.
Because he'd have to lose to the Tribal Chief. He'd have to acknowledge.
It should only be one fall to a finish, I think, in the War Games.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
he wouldn't have to acknowledge then.
It's supposed to be surrender originally, War Games, but they've changed it, obviously. It's probably going to be pinfall.
How do you get them to surrender?
I mean, they say I quit, or they tap out,
Oh, okay.
or they just cannot continue too as well. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's original War Games. Now they've changed it so many times over the years. Like I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be a pinfall.
I'm seeing comments saying Malakai Black might want to go back to WWE. I did see Malakai Black post a thing about how, he's had personal problems and this and that going on, and that's why he's taking a leave of absence from AEW. I think he got his release from AEW too, right?
I read somewhere about conditional, but then he's like, that's not true. So I don't know what's going on really. He's not going to be wrestling. He's taking a break.
Yeah.
And then he'll come back. Where he'll come back, I don't know. But someplace where make him happy, I guess.
But he said in his whole big Instagram message, there was a part that said there were promises made to me creatively that weren't fulfilled, and I'm not he kind of made a thing I was promised this and that in AEW and I didn't really get it, so I don't really want to be here. Which was the same complaint he had in WWE. When he left WWE, he was saying, "Oh, I wanted my release because they weren't doing." Here's a thought, and I mean no disrespect at all. But here's just a thought. Maybe Aleister Black just has shitty ideas and people tell him no because they're shitty. And the ideas he does get through are also shitty, but, they're not as shitty as the other ideas he has. Because every time this guy cuts a promo or has a gimmick, it's pretty much the same thing, and it's pretty much garbage. The guy he was in WWE and the guy he is in AEW is pretty much the same guy. He's saying he wasn't fulfilled creatively in WWE. You're doing the exact same shit in AEW. So I think maybe it's not that he's unfulfilled creatively. I think maybe he just has some bad ideas and people are like, no. When he was in WWE, he's like, I got this idea for no, it's terrible. Comes in AEW, he's like, oh, I can do what I want here. Hey, I got this idea, I'm going to do this. No. I'm not doing that. It's ridiculous. I mean, who knows what he's coming up with? But, I mean, do you not see it that way? The guy is one way in WWE. He's the same in AEW. Yet he's complaining that, WWE didn't let me do the creative things that I wanted to do. Now in AEW, I can do them. And it's you're doing them. It's basically the same shit, dude. And it sucks. And now he's like, they didn't let me in AEW. You mean they didn't make you world champion? They didn't put you at top of the card? Is that what you're complaining about? I'm not really sure. I don't know. He's probably got other things going on in his life, and I wish him the best, but When a guy is like unhappy in WWE because of creative, then he goes to AEW and he's unhappy there because of creative, it's like, well, you seem the same everywhere you go. Stop me when I'm telling lies.
You know, we've seen it with other people. They get disgruntled. Maybe it's best they just take a break for a bit, recharge their batteries, and then come back later. Things are a bit different. Landscape's kind of changed a little bit. Feels like they're kind of like renewed in a sense. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if he doesn't want to be there, eventually they'll release him completely. It's going to take time. But if he wants to come back, I'm sure they'll have a spot for him. I mean, we saw House of Black wrestle tonight, so it's still a thing going on with or without him.
Yeah. He's not in the company, but the group is still called House of Black.
Right.
Cool. All right, John. When's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
I guess it's going to be in a couple hours. I don't know if you saw, it got posted on Ringside Report, right?
Yes.
I'm wrestling Jeremy Prophet, I think possibly for the last time ever. So kind of a huge deal. Kind of cool. I've wrestled him since 2004? So yeah, it's kind of a huge thing for it to be like possibly the last match tomorrow. I guess you're going to be pulling it up, I believe, too. It's a little graphic.
Trying to.
There we go.
Look at that guy.
I just saw this recently, too.
Yeah, I don't know. AJ posted this. I don't even know where he found this.
I'm going to guess he found it on Facebook because I hadn't seen it either. Like, I just saw it on Twitter. I'm like, oh, that's nice. It's nice to know who I'm wrestling, what the match is.
So if you were anywhere near Oswego, Ontario.
It's outside Toronto.
Okay. Go check out Seraphis and Jeremy Prophet taking on the Raccoon and Genesis, Johnny North. So that's pretty cool. That's September 24th. That's tomorrow. That's right now. That's soon. 7 p.m. Saturday. Yep. Wow, you better get out of here. You got to travel. You got to make a trip.
Yeah, we should wrap this up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you got to go. You got a big match against our man, the Prophet. All right. Well, there it is. Go check out Johnny North in action. If you're in the Toronto area, definitely a match you want to check out. Go see Jeremy Prophet before he's in AEW. Before he's the AEW World Champion. You could say, oh, I saw him wrestle Johnny North. All right. That's it. Check it out. Thank you to Harold Schneider. Harold, you are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you, Harold. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed, and click that bell so you get notifications every time we are on. All right, make sure to subscribe and, of course, support the Ringside Report Network. Join.ringsidereport.net. We are here every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time after Smackdown, and I am here every Thursday night as well at 8 p.m. Eastern with Freddie and AJ for Ringside Report MMA. Check out the latest episode of Ringside Report MMA. We talked about Gordon Ryan dominating at the ADCC. We talked about the retirement of Jose Aldo. We talked about what's next for Nate Diaz, all on the latest episode of Ringside Report MMA that you can check out live, or not live, but, on the channel right now. And, of course, we do pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view and AEW pay-per-view post-shows and UFC pay-per-view watch-alongs. The next UFC watch-along will be UFC 280 in the afternoon. And the next WWE post-show will be before that. It'll be October the 8th on a Saturday night. We'll be doing a WWE Extreme Rules post-show on Saturday, October the 8th. That is coming up real soon. Extreme Rules in Philadelphia. And that is all. Shout out to the members. Silent by Deadly. Tony Mack, thank you for staying up with us, Tony. Appreciate it, my friend. Tony Mack, good man. And all the other members. Doug Hepburn. I think I saw Rob Cluse in here at one point. Harold Schneider, of course. Thank you to all the members. Don't forget, join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net. It is the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.